Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Thursday, October 5th, and this is our second live stream on the channel. And so I want to first of all express my sincere appreciation to the 45 people who have subscribed. If you are an educator who likes to talk about issues impacting higher education, education in general, faculty life, faculty careers, and all things teaching and scholarship and service, this is a great channel for you to be notified of what we're doing, what we're talking about, when we're going live. It's my intention to go live on Thursdays every afternoon or evening. I'm not 100% sure that 5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Eastern is always going to work. I have some travel dates coming up in just like 10 minutes. Thanksgiving will be here. And so that's going to also be a challenge because the holidays are coming up. I am going to try to post more frequently during winter break, which is sort of like December to first week of December to the third week of January. And one of the few privileges of our schedule in higher education is that we work on 9 or 10-month contracts, which means that we have, I guess, more flexibility. I would say that I work just about as much during breaks as I do I just work on different things. And I always try to work on things that really bring me joy and that I feel passionate about. So that helps me quite a bit. So our topic today is, can professional development save higher education? And the reason I said save higher education, because as you may be aware, there's a great number of people who are actually leaving the profession of higher education. And that means that there is a shortage, and there are many places that are understaffed, and therefore it's difficult for programs and colleges to really deliver the quality of curriculum and the rotation that they want with the predictability that they want, with so much instability in terms of the teaching workforce. So I wanted to have a little conversation about that. I think one of the reasons why professional development came to my mind is I don't think there's been a lot of conversation about professional development lately. But I was on, actually, before I go into that, let me introduce myself. I like to spend the first 2 minutes talking about the topic and setting the context. But my name is Dr. Crystal Harris. And since this is a new channel, our channel is maybe 4 months old now. I want to introduce myself in case you're coming through here and you have not had the opportunity to get to know me. So I have been teaching at a state university in Illinois for approximately 15 years, and I've been in higher education teaching completely for about almost 20 years because I taught as an instructor of record during my doctoral program. I've also been a mentor and a coach to incoming college students and college freshmen in several of the years in different programs, co-curricular programs outside of my formal professional teaching career. So I started this channel. If you look at the dates I was actually looking at earlier, I actually started this channel in 2008, which was right at the time that I began my teaching career. The reason that I started the channel then is that I mean, YouTube was not the search engine that it is now, but I was looking at videos around dissertation support and being able to work on finishing my doctorate. I was actually starting my doctorate in 2000. No, I wasn't starting it. I was starting the dissertation year or comprehensive exams. Suffice it to say, it was a very isolating process. And there weren't a lot of women of color. There were 0 women of color in the program that I was in. There was one woman who was slightly ahead of me and one woman who was slightly behind me, and we're still very close friends. But I just did not have in my classes and amongst the faculty any real people who looked like me for support. And for those of you who are female faculty of color, you'll know that that's still often the case in many programs. So I attended, I guess, a top 10 school, and it was a wonderful experience as far as the education, and I did get a lot of support. However, I'll be very honest with you, I really looked to social media to meet and to find other people who were going through what I was going through. I was not a first generation college student or master's student because both of my parents were educators. However, when I got to the doctoral program, I just really felt very alone and isolated and like I don't even know if I should be trying to finish this. So that was, I know now that that's a very normal part of the process. And the beauty of social media is that you can see almost any and everybody doing really amazing things and sharing pieces of their journey and their strategies for how they're getting through. So shortly after 2008, I was really interested in doing research on Black women who were in the academy and dealing with a variety of race-related stress issues, because that was my dissertation topic. And suffice it to say, I got away from that and started working on other things. And I never really came back to YouTube except as a viewer. Couple years ago, I had the opportunity to start this channel, but I couldn't figure out who my audience was and what I was going to call it. And long story short, during the pandemic, I had a chance to kind of clarify all of that. And so this is a channel for educators, primarily educators of color, but it's really resources and information that could be helpful to anybody. But certainly if you are a member of an underrepresented minority group, whichever group that is, you're going to find that a lot of the things that Black faculty, Black female faculty are experiencing can happen to you as well. And so that's why I think this could be a great place and a safe space to have those conversations about what's going on in higher education. So I hope that as people learn about this Thursday afternoon live stream, that they will begin to come online and have a little conversation with me in the chat. I'll be reading the chat messages. If you're watching me now and in the replay in the future, please feel free to come back and leave a comment about what you'd like to see happen in this channel. So I don't want to hold you too long, so I do want to get to the topic. So this idea that people are quitting and that we need more teachers and we need more faculty, and certainly we need more faculty of color, is really sort of a crisis conversation. I think professional development is an important way that we can save people who are thinking about leaving, because last week I talked about self-efficacy. And if you recall, I talked about the difference between confidence and self-efficacy. Please go back and watch that video. If I can figure out how to do it, I will leave that in the end slide so that you'll be able to find that. I'll put a link to it. And that video really is what got me on this idea of thinking about, because we don't feel confident that the mastery and the skill that we need to develop is getting fixed or resolved, or we're not sure who to talk to about it, or if we talk to people about it, oftentimes you'll get unhelpful advice, or you'll be told something that sort of diminishes the importance of that skill that you're trying to work on. I think that professional development, when it's done strategically and comprehensively, can be a key strategy for organizations to create self-efficacy in particularly young faculty. Because of the pandemic, we have a whole generation of people now who are feeling less than competent when it comes to certain aspects of teaching online. And I think I told an example about this. I wrote an article in Medium as well and talked about a case of a faculty member, which was really a composite of a variety of true stories, that case that was discussed. And basically, because people are nervous about learning new skills anyway, when you're learning a new skill and you're on camera, immediately video conferencing with our students, it's really easy to feel intimidated. It's really easy to wonder, um, if you're good enough. And if you already struggle with people pleasing and feelings of um, questioning your competency, you're going to find that you need to deal with those emotions. And one of the ways that we can deal with those emotions is internally or externally. So there are a lot of things in that article that I talk about that you can do internally, which is find a mentor or a resource that is good at the skill that you're trying to develop, and you will and ask them to work with you, or observe them, or ask them if they can observe you if you're not sure that you want to sort of have a deeper connection with them. The second thing that you can do, believe it or not, is you can ask your institution. There are many institutions. I teach at a small institution, about 4,000 students. And even at our institution, we have a faculty development committee that works out of the provost's office. There's all types of Center for Teaching and Learning resources, and we also have librarians who will support you in a variety of things. And we have our professional associations that are external to the institution that employs us. So I think it's really important, whatever skill we're trying to learn, that we are open to being vulnerable enough to talk to someone about how we can do better in that specific space. How can we do better at getting the resources that we need? I just heard about a female faculty professional development conference on LinkedIn that's coming up that is for women of color. And I had not heard about that event. And so I was excited to see that it exists. And I also am located with Instagram. I have a business page on Instagram for this channel and for just the overall business, coaching business. And what I believe is that the more you search for these things, the more the algorithms will bring people who are in these spaces to you. And so in the old days, you would go to Google and you might put in, maybe, for example, dissertation support, dissertation editing, and you'd get a bunch of people. And maybe on page 2 or 3, you would eventually find someone who maybe you felt like you could work with and afford, and that looked like you and that shared your, background, if that was an important factor. And even to be in the same city, sometimes that was an issue years ago when I was working on my dissertation. So now let's say, for example, I want to learn how to use a certain piece of technology. If I'm not sure who knows how to use that technology, I don't have to just go to Google and put in consultants for, say, Deduce, or Qualtrics, whatever it is. I can go to YouTube and put it in and find people who might have posted. I can go to Udemy. I can go to my professional association. I can email my direct internal mentors. And then once I find out the different options of ways to pick up that skill, I might need someone to actually help me with the application of that skill, on an ongoing basis. So just going to like a workshop or a class is sometimes not enough support. So professional development is a beginning step to help people build their confidence and develop self-efficacy in mastery of a skill, whatever that skill may be. In my case, I use the example of a technical skill because that was the last thing that I needed. And what I ended up doing was including that in a grant that I wrote so that I could get 2 hours of consulting from the publisher of that software in order to get the support that I needed. I actually, before that, had tried to find people on my campus that were familiar with doing analysis with Deduce. So I'm a self-taught Deduce analysis, and I've also taught several doctoral students, about 4 doctoral students, how to use Deduce as well. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like, and that was pre-pandemic, I feel like that was a really recent example in my career about how easy it is to get defeated if you need to use something and you can't find someone. You can't figure it out yourself and you can't find someone to help you. So I do think that there are many opportunities at different spaces in your career where you could get discouraged if you need to learn a skill and you can't find out how to do it. So asking for professional development funds and resources is also important. In our college, you get resources to go and present at conferences, But professional development funds is a little different and a little bit more ambiguous. I'm not saying that if you're doing research, you couldn't find someone to give you the financial support to go, assuming the money is available. I do think that there are people who don't know that there is a process to get funds. And if you teach in an environment where the climate, the communication, the climate around communication and resources is not as transparent as it should be, you may find that you don't want to ask because you don't want to bring attention to the fact that you don't need it, that you need it, and you don't want to bring attention to the fact that you need resources, financial resources, and to be more specific. So I think it's really important for us to say, if we want to retain faculty who want to improve their skills, we must start being more clear about the process for getting professional development and bringing quality professional development into our campuses and organizations and departments. So one of the things that I have been offering has been workshops, 1-day and half-day workshops. I have actually only been doing this around mental health and advocacy in organizations in the south suburbs of Chicago. And I've done that with another colleague who has since retired from the institution. However, I'm now thinking about doing more faculty development resource and support with educational institutions in higher education. And I'm not really sure what that's going to look like yet, but that is definitely something that's coming down the pipeline. However, in the meantime, I do offer laser coaching. If there's something that you'd like to talk through and you'd like to book a call with me, please reach out to me. My contact information on LinkedIn is in the description for the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn and YouTube, Facebook. I'm in all the places. The only place that I'm really not very often is Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. And I don't think I will be, to be quite honestly. I don't think I will be. Actually, I have an account, but you'll see I post maybe annually or biannually. So that's it for today. I do think that in my own case, professional development is so important if you're new in your career, to know how it works and to get it and to feel strong enough to ask for it and to have the agency to create the opportunities that you need to learn what you need to know. But I also know that if you're mid-career, or if you're at the end of the career approaching retirement age, there are also skills and important career strategies developmentally that you need if you're at that mid-career point, applying for tenure portfolio, applying for full professor, or going into administration, or from administration transferring back. These are not things that I have done personally, but these are all things that I have been parts of the process of supporting other people. So I just want to share that even if I'm not the career coach for you, the process of reflecting and asking questions and considering certain career development strategies is something that's really powerful if you are needing more clarity, more direction, and more focus in meeting your goals. So I'm going to leave it there today. And I do want to say that I appreciate you hitting like and subscribe and hitting that notification bell. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.